Hi there, my name's Jason King from 3dprinthq.com, and I just want to explain to you the YHT principle for where we need to add supports when we're designing 3D objects that are printable, 3D printable. So I've got this little drawing that I made earlier. As you can see, it's hand drawn, so it's not the neatest in the world. But it just explains three different ideas for where we need to add supports when we're 3D printing objects. So the Y, as you can see here, has approximately, the two arms along here, approximately 45 degrees from horizontal. So in this case, a 3D printer, an FDM 3D printer, would just about be able to do this without supports, because it's, as long as it's this line here isn't any less than 45 degrees from horizontal, then we're okay. So you could add supports here, but you wouldn't need to. But if this was kind of like that, then your 3D printer will be printing layer upon layer, and this last bit of each layer would be in mid-air, and you'd probably find that you'd end up with looping down here, and it just wouldn't work very well. So the Y, as long as this angle here is less than 45 degrees from horizontal, we should be absolutely fine without supports. Now this H is interesting too, because you think, imagine we're 3D printing and we're doing it layer upon layer this side as well, and we get up to here, you think, okay, you're going to be printing in mid-air here. But this is called a bridge. So when we get to this point, we're 3D printing, obviously, from the bottom upwards. We get to this point, and your 3D printer can actually go across there between these. It's created two little pillars already, the bottom half of the H. And now it can go straight across here quite quickly. It can normally speed up for a bridge, and it will stretch the filament across here, and you won't actually need supports here, even though it looks like it's 3D printing in mid-air. So for the Y, you don't need supports as long as this is more than 45 degrees from horizontal. And for the H, you wouldn't need supports either way. You would probably think you might, but you won't. Now the T is what we call, whereas the H is a bridge, which a 3D printer can usually do, as long as it's not too far. If it's a massive long bridge, you may have problems, but it's surprising how well 3D printers can handle bridges. But the T is what we call an overhang. Now the difference here is it's similar to a bridge. You've printed all the way up to here, you've got your pillar, but now you really are printing in mid-air, and there's no pillar here or here to add to be your support for these two overhangs. So the problem you're going to get here is that it's going to start 3D printing and it's going to start looping down here, because the filament is just going to drop and it's just going to be a mess. It will actually look it'll literally look a little bit like this at the bottom, where it goes and loops down here. So in this situation is where you want supports, and you can imagine you create these removable supports, just add them using your slicing software, and the same this side. And then you can break them off, or if you've got dissolvable supports, you can dissolve them. But whatever way, after you 3D printed this, you would remove these supports, and this would be a nice horizontal edge there without any looping like this, or the filament just dropping and melting down here. So that's pretty good. So now we know where we need supports and where we don't. What you could also consider is that for the T, for example, if we print it upside down, there's your build plate, along there, print the T upside down, suddenly no requirement for supports at all. We don't need supports anywhere on here. So we've solved the support problem by reorientating the object before we 3D print it on the build plate. And of course, assuming these are kind of just about that thick, if you look at the sort of 3D, if it was like that, you could actually print all of these flat to the build plate, so they're all lying down, so the cross section would look like this on the build plate for all of them. And for the Y, you'd see the two little things, and then the T would look like that, and if the bottom bit is facing you, you just see that there, and that would be the profile. So you could print them all flat to the build plate anyway, so that no supports will be required regardless of what angles you've got or anything like that. So the important thing to remember here, where you've got 45 degree angles, 45 degrees or more from the horizontal, you shouldn't need supports. Where you've got bridges, as long as the bridge isn't too long, you wouldn't need supports. And for overhangs, you do need supports, but you can always reconsider the orientation of the object. Say for the T, for example, turn it upside down, and no supports would be required at all. So hope that just clears up a little bit where you need supports and where you don't for your 3D prints, and how to avoid them by reorientating the object. Or of course, if you're totally in control of the design, you could actually redesign the object to require less supports or no supports, which I've done in the past. And if you're designing the thing yourself, the object, then that's a possibility. For more information, feel free to visit 3dprinthq.com. You can contact me from there, and I'll try and answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.